Second segment sip is down, and it is time to talk about a one Jeremiah McClellan. So, got this SSA, love these, SSA question. We're going to find out by the time I finish reading it. So, question came in, and by the way, you can submit them via YouTube comments or DMs or become a Locked On Ducks insider. That link is in the description below. You get priority mailbag access and a bunch of other perks as well. However you want to get in touch, send me your questions. Give me an SSA, Spencer scale of agreement. I give you 1 to 10, half numbers included, how much I agree and why. So, Jeremiah McClellan actually reminds me of a little bit of another, this is the question, of course, of another Oregon wide receiver to wear number 11 recently, who wasn't too bad himself. That would be Troy Franklin, of course, with the kind of contested catches he makes. Do you think this is a... Let me try reading a question again like I'm not seeing it for the first time. Okay, just another flag on the play. False start, Locked On Ducks, number 28, 5-yard penalty, replay, second down, since we're in the second segment. See what I did there? Okay, here we go. Here's the question/SSA. Jeremiah McClellan actually reminds me a little bit of another Oregon wide receiver to wear the number 11 recently who wasn't too bad himself with the kind of contested catches he makes. Do you think this is a reasonable comp? Also, I can see McClellan actually stepping forward and being slightly more of a consistent wide receiver one next year above DeCorian, similar to Malik Benson this year. And if DeCorian lives up to the billing, I think these two could be the best duo in college football in the next couple of years. What do you think? So McClellan's numbers this year were really good. In his second season after redshirting in 2024, he only had 3 catches that year. 38 catches, 557 yards, 3 touchdowns, almost 15 yards per reception. The second half of the season in particular, when DeCorian got hurt, J-Mac stepped up in a big way. So I am really bullish on Jeremiah McClellan, and he is going to be one of several data points, test cases, however you want to phrase it, for the Drew Maringer offense and whether it will live up to its full potential. Because one thing for a long time, of course, you're referring to Troy Franklin, another great number 11, but who unfortunately has to catch passes from Jared Stidham on Sunday. Man, Oregon and postseason is just cursed, man. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, when DeCorian Moore went out, McClellan against Iowa, 2 catches for 14 yards, did have a drop in that game. It was also very windy and hard to throw the football. Then against Minnesota, 3 for 36 and that spectacular touchdown. USC, 3 for 53. Washington on the road, 3 for 78. Should have been 4 for 110 if the play was officiated correctly. That was ridiculous. And then against JMU, 6 for 83 and a touchdown. So he only had 2 catches against Texas Tech, had 5 for 64 against Indiana. But I bring that up to say, if you compare that to the first half of the year, he was far more involved. And I'm with you that he feels like one of those breakout candidates. Between him and DeCorian Moore, if those guys' numbers, I don't think they both have to get 1,000 yards for me to say, okay, this is the offense that we should have expected when the season began, or this is the offense living up to its full potential. If they don't both increase their yardage pretty significantly next year, I'll be pretty disappointed and frankly a little surprised, unless an injury comes into the fold. You know, maybe DeCorian re-aggravates or J-Mac gets banged up, God forbid. What I got so excited about as this year went on with Jeremiah McClellan is we did see this with Troy Franklin a little bit. A lot of the great Oregon receivers over the years were basically bigger versions of Tez Johnson. They were good route runners. They were good after the catch. They weren't guys that you were going to throw a lot of 50-50 balls to. And when you watch these teams across the country, like Indiana or the Washington teams with Penix, LSU with Burrow, Ohio State, when you watch these teams that have NFL caliber receivers and they trust them to take deep shots in one-on-one situations, you got to have guys that can make the play. We know Jeremiah McClellan can make those sorts of plays. And that has not been a consistently common thread for Oregon receivers. It's something that I think has really evolved with the position group at the school over the last several years. Shout out Junior Adams and Ross Douglas. So J-Mac can make special catches. And we saw it all throughout the season, especially as the year went on. Even though the game was terrible, in the Peach Bowl against Indiana even, Dante Moore lets it rip. D'Angelo Pons, pretty sure it was D'Angelo Pons. Yeah, it was. D'Angelo Pons is draped all over J-Mac down the field, and he makes the catch in traffic. When you have a weapon like that, there's nothing a defender can really do. That's an NFL caliber corner. And Howdy Hall in a 43-yard reception, he's got great ball skills and really strong hands. And DeCorian Moore fits into this category as well. The offense, I'm not saying it has to only be this. When there are one-on-one shots, I think what we've seen in the last couple of years is Oregon quarterbacks are not always as willing or able, depending on which guy you're talking about, to take those shots down the field. We've seen it in spurts. I tell you, the game that got me the most excited this year about the Oregon offense was Oregon State. Because all of a sudden, Dante, who's got incredible arm talent, better than anyone since Justin Herbert to play quarterback at Oregon, is suddenly making these back shoulder downfield throws. It's unguardable. If your timing is good, it's unstoppable. And the other thing, too, on the 50-50 balls down the field, how often do you get pass interference? Decent amount of the time. That's free 15 yards, automatic first down. So J-Mac is a guy that just, the Minnesota touchdown, the Washington catch that was, the plays he did make against Washington, frankly. I think there are similarities. I like your comp. I'll SSA that and put it at a 7 for comparing him to Troy Franklin. I think he's a better route runner, and I actually think he has stronger hands. Troy Franklin was a body catcher with better high-end speed. J-Mac has got elite, really, really strong hands. And when he's one-on-one with a DB, if the ball is thrown correctly, he's going to catch it more than 50% of the time. That's what Charlie Becker will learn over the second half of the season he can do with Indiana. I want J-Mac to continue getting those opportunities. The difference, and why I only put it as 7 comparing him to Troy Franklin, is he's a little bit shorter. I think he runs the entire route tree a little bit better, but doesn't have the same home run speed. But yeah, I don't hate that comp whatsoever. So anyway, I'm bullish on Jeremiah McClellan. I don't think I can launch a second fan club. Can I? Let me know in the comments below. But if I can, then I'm going to launch the J-Mac fan club here. Another SSA here. Would Oregon have won the Peach Bowl if the quarterbacks had swapped? Probably. Dante Moore's mistakes gave Indiana at least 14, if not 21 points. I mean, the very least, one time you'd like to see when you turn the ball over like that, you'd like to see the defense pick up the offense and hold them to a field goal. Pretty hard when it's 1st and goal on the 3. But when Dante Moore was strip sacked and the ball was at like the 30-yard line or so, yeah, it's a tough spot for a defense to be in. You got to be able to hold the 3 at some point. That's what the truly elite defenses are able to do. They pick up the other side of the ball when they make a mistake. Watch my Seahawks do it all the time. But yeah, I think that Mendoza made so few mistakes and all the right reads and cut it loose when he had one-on-ones, and Dante Moore did none of those things. And it was indeed that impactful. If you ever doubt how impactful just a change at quarterback can be or improve quarterback play, best example to think about from an Oregon standpoint is the year before Dylan Gabriel came over from Oklahoma. He led the Sooners to a 10-2 campaign, and they won the Red River Shootout against Texas in 2020. Well, that had been 3. And then he came to Oregon for 2024. In 2022, Dylan Gabriel was hurt at Oklahoma, didn't play in Red River. They lost 49-0. So, yeah, I can think of 21 points in the first half for Indiana that would not have been on the board had you swapped the quarterbacks. Does Indiana still win? I think probably, because I think their staff was just better than Oregon's. But at the very least, they would have had a chance. So I'll give that a 4.5 on the SSA. But yeah, you take 21 points off the board in the first half, and that's basically what Dante Moore gave him. Lack of ball security, pick six, fumble when Indiana didn't even really do anything to him. He just made a mistake. Unfortunate. So